Let's get started. Camila, it's great to get you on the show. I've heard from people that you've been down in Thailand
Yeah,
training for the last couple of weeks. How long were you down there for?
we were there for about 3 weeks,
Okay.
and we usually go once a year to exchange with other fighters. Uh, for me, it's really an excellent experience because I don't have girls to basically I don't have as many girls to train with in France. So to be with a bunch of professional female fighters, that's pretty awesome.
At this particular time, there was a lot of female fighters down there, more than normal, or was it the usual amount?
I think it's definitely increased from the first. I've been going there for about 4 years, I think, to train. First, however, the first time I went, I was only doing Thai boxing. However, but no, I think there's more female fighters than last time. We were about 5 or 6 at least every session. So
How was that? How was the training for those 3 weeks?
very good, very good. Definitely no complaints at all. We usually do the MMA with George Hickman, so we yeah. So I exchange with the girls that come to those sessions basically, and it's really been excellent on my part.
Were you just working mostly on the MMA, or did you do a lot of the Muay Thai and boxing? Did you do everything while you were down there?
I mostly work on when I go there. I mostly do wrestling and well, first of all MMA, then the wrestling and the grappling. I think that the Muay Thai Tiger. Since we're not sponsored fighters, we can't do the fighter sessions. So it's a bit different. You don't get the same connection with the coaches as you get in the MMA part section, because so for us it's really a lot better and a lot more useful to do the MMA, wrestling, and grappling.
It's kind of weird to say that you would go to Thailand to do
Yeah,
wrestling,
definitely.
right?
Yeah, but I think it also has to do with your strong suits. I come from a stand-up background, so obviously the holes in my game are usually it's going to be all the other aspects of MMA. So for me, that's what I get. You know, that's good for me to do the other types of training that I'm not say as good at as.
Before we get into the MMA stuff, I want to talk about the striking aspect. And are you continuing to take fights in Muay Thai or kickboxing, K1? Are you continuing to do that?
I haven't done that up until now, but we're gonna be doing that a lot more in general to get more fights and more experience. It's never a bad thing. So I'm definitely open to any opportunity that comes up for sure.
How is the wrestling in France? Is it popular? Is it something that is very niche? Is it hard to find? How is it?
No, it's the French wrestlers are actually very good. They have very high level in judo as well, because a lot of people when they're small, when they're kids, they start at a very young age. The judo federation is huge here, but the wrestling federation doesn't have the same kind of, let's say, power financially, but it's definitely a big part of the sports culture here. If women do it as much, no, but I think that now with MMA, I think that women are going to start getting into these sports more and more. It's going to take a bit of time, but the close contact sport are going to be more and more popular, I think.
In France, they just recently announced that MMA is legal. How happy were you when you heard that news?
Very happy. That means a lot for any fighter that's based in France. in terms of, obviously the recognition of being a legitimate athlete. That's first of all, that's very important, to be able to fight in the country that you live. It's very important. I've been lucky to have Sweden as one of my home countries, so I've been able to fight in front of my audience. But since I'm living here, obviously I wanna fight in France. So that aspect has been super important, and the other aspect is the financial aspect that hopefully within the near future is going to change a lot in terms of sponsorships. And so for the French fighters, it's very important.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hungry young
For sure.
prospects there that just
For
need
sure.
that platform, now.
And imagine that French fighters have been able to reach higher levels without being a legitimate sport. So this is just gonna explode.
What's going on right now? Are there promotions popping up, or I know that Aries eventually will start doing shows in France, but is there other shows that are popping up in France right now since the news came out?
Nothing that's set in stone yet. We're gonna wait and see. They're still choosing which federation is going to be handling MMA in France. So we'll have to wait and see until the promotions will start to pop up.
All right. Well, you started your professional career in 2018, not too long ago. You had a great year. Then 2019, you had some challenges, let's say, in that year. Going through 2019, after having such a great year in 2018, going into 2020, how did you feel?
I think it's definitely a challenge to go from a pretty long winning streak, because I did a lot of amateur fights that I won as well. And it's definitely a challenge, but I think that's also what makes us fighters, is that we just get back on the horse and you just try again, and you try to constantly develop, and that's what the fight game is about. It's constant development and just standing back up every time. So I think that's what you've got to do. You can't dwell in losses, because that's not gonna get you anywhere.
Did you dwell in the losses for a little bit at least? Sometimes it has to eat at you, right?
Yeah, I think the first loss that I had definitely a little bit, because it was a debated decision. The technically I beat her, but we in our opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, I scored more points than she did. But it's you also have to realize that this sport is entertainment. So you have to win convincingly, and that only taught me that you have to do more, and there are things that I had to change in my game, even though technically I might have won. It doesn't matter. You need to win convincingly in this sport.
What were some of the things you realized throughout that year that you needed to change, that you needed to maybe add to your arsenal of skills, or just maybe you need to get stronger? Was there anything that you saw?
I definitely. I think in all elements in MMA that there was something that I could work on. And you have to be humble and realize that even if you come from a striking background, you might have to arrange certain things in your striking. For me, it was finding my first loss was against a pretty she was a big girl. So I had to be more stable, So I've been working on my stability, my balance within my striking. My wrestling is very important to have good wrestling in MMA, because you dictate where the fight is happens. So I've been working a lot on my wrestling and even grappling, but definitely I think the wrestling and the stability aspect in my striking had to needed some work.
Yourself, you come from a striking background, and it's great to hear that you are working on your wrestling, because when you look at someone like, for example, Valentina Shevchenko, she has a massive striking background, but you could tell she wrestles, because in the fight, if you watched her last fight, she took the fight to the ground when she could have stood for 5 rounds and just picked the other girl apart, but she took it to the ground and finished the fight. And it's good to hear that you're working on those things.
Oh, for sure. I've learned that in the past, because fighting against girls that also come from a striking background, and you, as I said, you have to win convincingly. So I've actually used my wrestling to win those fights, to make that difference. So I've actually won a few fights because having worked on my wrestling. So that's it's insanely important, and I think that if you go into MMA and thinking that you're gonna be able to just box your way through, if you're good standing up, you're very wrong.
We've seen that many times now. You got a fight coming up, Zeus FC 4. How did that all come together? You're from you're living in France, you're training in Thailand, and this fight is going to be in Korea.
Yeah, this, I think my life is supposed to happen around the world, because I was born in Uruguay, I was raised in Sweden, and now I'm living in France, training in Thailand. It's I'm supposed to see the world, I think. But no, I was actually training, and I was approached after them having seen me train, and so I was approached by one promoter from Zeus, and to me it was an excellent opportunity. Actually, a fight that was supposed to happen in Sweden didn't fall through, so it was just it was God sent, you would say. So I've never been to Korea, so I'm super excited. It's a new promotion, so there's always possibilities when there's something new. So no, I'm definitely super excited.
Well, I could give you some information about the promotion. The venue, right, is right below the hotel. So most likely you're going to stay in the hotel, and you're going to get in the elevator, go down, and then the venue will be right there. I think that's where they're going to probably have the fighters stay. So that's kind of nice, right?
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's fantastic. I've never had anything similar. So that's going to be very, very peaceful, actually.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it, right?
Oh, for sure. Stay in bed until the fight.
Yeah. Now, your opponent, have you looked her up? I'm pretty sure there's a few videos of her fighting. She has a couple fights in Korea. What do you think about her?
From what I understand, she comes from a striking background as well, taekwondo, if I'm not mistaken. I think she does a few dangerous mistakes. So I think that I'll definitely capitalize on what I've seen up until now. So, yeah, that sums it up.
You've been training for a while now, and you did have that fight in Sweden, but it fell through, and you got lucky. You got this fight coming in. So you must be hungry to get in there and, be violent, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what you want to be, right?
Yeah, for sure. And my last fight was a loss as well. So, it's definitely, you need your redemption, obviously. So unfortunately, it for my next opponent, that violence is going to be directed towards her. But of course, when you haven't fought in a bit, you're hungry to get back in there. And I also, especially, I have been training really hard, and and you just wanna get the fun part, basically.
You were in Thailand. and the fight is in Asia, and it's in Korea. Why did you decide to go back to France so close to the fight?
It wasn't a decision. We already had the tickets back, and we have things to get back to as well. We couldn't stay another 2 weeks in Thailand, so it was just hazard, otherwise it would have been very practical to stay in Thailand, obviously, but since we didn't know about the fight when leaving France, it was kind of, it happened the way it happened.
Yeah. Well, the rest of the camp, what are you going to do to kind of prepare yourself in France? Did you go with your coaches to Thailand together? So, okay.
With coaches and a few people from my team as well. No, I think we're just going to continue in the same spirit as that we had in Thailand, training the way we've been training up until now, stay free of injuries and everything, and just keep on going. I think luckily, touching wood and everything went really well over there. Sparring hard, training hard, but no injuries. So I'm very happy about that. Now it's just the diet and everything, the non-fun part left. Up until the fight.
Yeah. Didn't it suck, after you were in Thailand in that beautiful tropical weather and you get to France and it's freezing, right? It's terrible, right?
I was actually, we were met, we arrived at night, and then in the morning it was actually, it was sunny, a bit cold, yes. But, when you lived in Sweden, the climate in France is, it's gentle, so it's nice. It wasn't that bad. So we'll see how I feel in a couple of weeks. But arriving was quite okay. I was expecting worse, but it was fine.
It actually might work out for you because, you're used to the cold weather. So when you get to Korea is also in the winter season. So your body will be used to the cold weather instead of the hot tropical Thailand weather.
Yeah, because it's actually those changes that are kind of get your immune system to fail you. So hopefully there will be no such thing. I think cold weather is definitely not a bother for me, as long as the hotel room is nice and warm. I'm fine.
All right. Well, February 29th, Zeus FC 4, Seoul, South Korea. Camila, thank you so much for the time, and I'll see you when you get here.
Yeah, 감사합니다, John.
Oh, perfect. Oh, you've been practicing.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it. Hey, if you just learn a couple phrases, they will love you out here.
I
learn a couple.
No, wait.
Yeah. This like one.
This? Oh, this yeah. One. It's
like
so
that.
Cute.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Camila, for the time, and good luck and on the rest of your camp, and have a safe flight, and I'll see you when you get here.
Thank you. I'll see you when we get there. Take care.